Call of Duty just rug pulled us, saying there would be no skill-based matchmaking in Black Ops 7, and here we are a few months later with skill-based matchmaking. But why is Call of Duty obsessed with adding skill-based matchmaking into this game? What do we as players gain, and therefore Activision, when this system is working properly? So I read this entire 25-page white paper the company released explaining what SBMM is and why it's needed. I'm going to break this down in a simple and easy to understand way for those of you that, well, don't want to read it. I'm going to do this in 3 easy steps. The first is what they said, what it actually says in the document, literally, what I think that means, so my opinion, my interpretation of this, and what I think they missed in this document or something that's not talked about in the statistics. And this is what could be biting them in the backside and making the whole internet mad about skill-based matchmaking. So let's break down what they said in this 25-page white paper. There's a lot of details about statistics and numbers and references. I'm not going to go into all of that. I'm just going to give you the very basic summarized gist. Again, this is overly simplified. But the new skill-based matchmaking that came in after Modern Warfare 2019 essentially searches a radius or an area for ping. So you're going to be looking for a match, for example, team deathmatch, in a small circle within your specific area. After there is enough people in the area that are looking for a team deathmatch game, then it actually balances out all of those players into lobbies with similar skill. And team deathmatch, for example, the skill isn't calculated by a kill-death ratio, it's kills per minute. So people that on average get the same amount of kills over the course of a minute are going to be grouped together. Once you have a lobby full of people that are within a similar skill set, then it breaks down and balances each team based on independent player skill. In game modes such as hardpoint or domination, it accounts for score over the course of each minute versus kills, because score in objective game modes is more important. Now, if you are a better player and there is a smaller pool of players in your area at your skill level, then the search has to expand a little bit. And the first thing that expands is the search area. So I live in Florida, so if for some reason I'm a #1 player in Florida and it can't find people of my skill, then it expands it to, let's say, South Georgia or Alabama or other areas that are a little bit further away in terms of ping. And then it will increase the allowed skill gap. So if it doesn't find enough players to form a lobby in my area at the same skill level, it'll expand the area. And if that's not enough, then it'll increase the allowed skill gap between players, placing me with a newer player or a less experienced player. Again, this is an oversimplified version, but area first, then getting a group of people together, balance them within a lobby that's relatively close, and then further balancing them within a team to make sure that it's fairly balanced throughout the whole process. The whole goal is to increase player fun, and they define fun as essentially not getting your butt kicked by God tier players. After studies done in other Call of Duties prior to MW 2019, and very specifically from 2019 on, they found that players who get blown out by another team quit and stop playing Call of Duty altogether. The whole purpose of the skill-based matchmaking system is to keep players engaged and playing for longer. It does cater to the bottom 30% of players, which are the new players who need help to not get blown out. But over the course of this document, it is very clear that skill-based matchmaking is intended to keep player retention high. And this is quite literally stated in the document. This is a direct quote. SBMM is meant to pair teams so that one group does not get blown out. This keeps the player on longer, end quote. This is literally stated in the document. And it's pretty self-explanatory, because even as a new player or an older player, you know that getting your butt kicked isn't really actually fun. It isn't for anyone. So the basics of skill-based matchmaking, I understand, I get it, and it makes perfect sense. But now we're going to get into the my opinions portion of it. This is step number 2. This whole document seems to be written in such a way to scare the reader. Everything in here always points back to not having fun and losing players, which does happen, but I don't think to the same extent as it sounds like when you read this document. And it goes a little bit further, essentially saying that if there is no skill-based matchmaking, the bottom 30% of players will essentially not have any fun and quit and leave and just won't continue playing Call of Duty, which then brings in a new problem. That bottom 30% is gone, so now the bottom 30% is a different group of people, which will also be affected the same way, essentially making the next 30 bottom percent of players leave, and so on and so forth, until there's literally no one able to play Call of Duty anymore, because they've all gotten frustrated because they got their butts kicked and left. So there will be no player base. And I get it, right? I've been a noob. I played Call of Duty for the first time, and you do leave when you get your butt handed to you. It's literally a thing that happens. We all did it. It's a part of Call of Duty. But I don't think that that's an infinite spiral causing all of the players to leave. I mean, we literally have basically 20 years of proof. The Call of Duty player count increased in the golden age when this wasn't true. If this was true and skill-based matchmaking was going to save the Call of Duty player base, we basically wouldn't have any players today. Oh wait, we basically don't. Let's ignore that fact for now. Let's take a look at this from a business perspective, because Activision and all of these studios are businesses, right? There is a thing that they're trying to do, and that is sell a product. So from the business perspective, we have the good gamers. Those are your regular customers that will continue to buy your product, and they play every single year. We're going to refer to these as regular iPhone users, just for a comparison, for this to kind of make sense. But you also have the new players, the new people that just transferred from Android to iPhone, or your Christmas noobs, which happen every single year. Your Android users newly converted to iPhone users, or Christmas noobs, they want to play your game. They want to buy your product, but they suck at it. They don't know how to use it. They don't know what the icons are. They don't know the difference between the Apple ecosystem and the Android ecosystem. They don't know the game yet. They're still Christmas noobs. So these Christmas noobs get the game, buy it, insert it, get their butts kicked, and then want to leave and never use it again. From a business perspective, this is the equivalent of losing a long-term customer. When you have a business, getting a customer to spend that initial portion of the money, buy the iPhone, buy the product, that's the hardest part. Everything from there is easy, and you just get upsells once they start becoming a part of this community. The hard part is getting someone to buy and play the game for the first time, to buy that iPhone for the first time, switching from an Android. That is the hard part. But in Call of Duty's world, you're essentially spending all of this marketing money to get new customers, and those new customers are immediately leaving. It's the reverse effect. You want someone to buy the iPhone, enjoy it, tell all their friends, and therefore their friends are now going to buy iPhones. In Call of Duty, it's the exact opposite. A new person that plays this game joins in, gets their butt kicks, and then tells their friends that they got their butt kicks and they did not have fun. It's literally negative marketing. And in comparison, for other businesses, for example, you get the iPhone, you're in. That's it. Once you get the iPhone, you're more motivated to get the AirPods, to get the tablet, to get the MacBook, to get the other products that make it a whole ecosystem. Like nowadays, you even buy a phone and they conveniently exclude the charger, so you therefore have to spend more money to get the charger for something that was originally put in the box. Soon enough, we're going to get a product that says battery sold separately. Sorry, I digress. We're talking about gaming here. For gaming, They bought Call of Duty. They bought Activision's iPhones. But they're an Android user at heart. So when they load up the game, they get their butts kicked. They get their butts handed to us. That's the equivalent of people here with iPhones knowing how to take pictures and turn them into PDFs, having the whole MacBook, iPad, Apple TV to where they can turn a TV show on from their bathroom in the morning before they even walk downstairs. There are people that are really into this and they're really good at it, comparatively speaking to someone who just learned that the picture icon is great. So there's people that are clearly more into the Apple ecosystem than you, which is the equivalent of getting 360 no-scoped across the map with a player with a dark matter camo. They're just better than you. The difference with iPhone is as you get better, as you use it, you can tell. With Call of Duty, match after match, you get smacked in the face to the point where you say, I quit. I'm not just playing this anymore. And therein lies the problem. The customer who you spent so much marketing budget on is gone. Instead of gaining more sales and more players because your customers went to friends and told them about the new iPhone that they love so much, they ended up buying more iPhones. This has the exact opposite effect. Your new customer gets shot in the face, figuratively and literally, and then tells their friends that they didn't have fun, and now you effectively got negative customers. This is clearly why skill-based matchmaking exists. This is why they keep lying to you about it and why it will never go away. They are essentially losing customers because others are just too good in comparison, making the new guys not have fun. Do you remember when they said, based on stats, it shows we need SBMM? But they didn't tell you what stats. It's this. This is literally it. If you can't get a new customer, your business will die. If your new customers leave, you cannot grow. So what stats are they looking at? How many players back out and leave? It doesn't matter where they place open matchmaking or skill-based matchmaking, and the front, the left, the back, behind a menu, it doesn't matter. They're looking at how many people click into which game mode, and they're looking at how many players leave. If an open matchmaking has 100,000 players on it and 30,000 of them back out, that's bad in comparison to if a strict skill-based matchmaking has 10,000 players with only 1,000 backing out. They have an increased player retention. It's never been about how many players enter into the playlist. It's always been about how many players leave. That's the stat they're not giving you. That's the stat that they care about, player retention. And if you are on YouTube talking about this, you're probably not in that minority that is backing out. So you don't feel this. You're completely unaware of it. You're the one causing the players to back out and leave. But as a company, as a business, they don't care for you the same way that they care for that new person. You already have the iPhone, the MacBook, the iPad, the AirPods, and you paid extra for the charger that should have been in the package in the first place. They've already got you in the system. They're trying to get new players to build the business. They need to keep those Christmas noobs having fun, not in back-to-back lobbies where they get destroyed by nukes. So if the skill-based matchmaking system was designed to keep new players happy and having fun while not discouraging the good players who should be dropping nukes, there must be something that was missed. And this is what I was thinking was missed with skill-based matchmaking, because from what I think and I can read, it makes sense. I get it. I hate to say it, but the skill-based matchmaking system should work in the way that it's designed for those newer players. But here's where I think that they didn't realize that this is exactly how life is meant to work. If you've ever played any video game ever, you suck at first. You're supposed to. That is how it works. If you play sports in real life, you're not going to be good at it the first time you do it. Now that I really think about it, you suck at anything you do in life for the first time. So the skill-based matchmaking system is trying to solve a human problem called life, and that usually doesn't go very well. I do have a few interesting things that I have zero clue how to implement, but it is how the human brain actually works, and it rewards us in such a way that even if we suck and have a bad experience, we'll still be able to keep playing and it doesn't baby us at the same time. If you dominate every single lobby, every single time, you get bored and it's too easy. There is a thing where you can be too good and just not have fun. There has to be a level of competition. If you get your butt kicked, this is terrible and you end up leaving. So we need to have a variability in the skill-based matchmaking system. It needs to be constantly changing match to match, getting tighter in some matches and looser in other matches. If you get your butt kicked in one match and then the next one ends up being a sweaty experience where it's fairly evenly matched and you have to work hard, and then the next one you end up kicking butt, your brain gets that dopamine hit of being different and variable every single time. You don't actually have to have an even match every single time, as long as you're not losing every single time. And just like in our brains in bad relationships, we actually have a thing called positive random reinforcement. If you join into a lobby and get your butt kicked, which you're expected to do as a new player, and then you join into another lobby and you do a little bit better, although you still got your butt kicked if it was less, your brain tries to chase that and get better at it. So it's not about making matches even, but more about giving the player that variety from one match to another where they did bad and they did better, or even good. It's the same thing with the top tier of players, the top 10%. Everyone's complaining that matches are sweaty because you no longer have that variability. You know that when you join a match, you're gonna get about a 1 KD, the same amount of kills and the same amount of deaths. Match after match after match after match. If we as individuals, good or bad, got our butts kicked in one match and then the next one dominated and then we lost 2 or 3 more matches, we would still be more interested in playing the game because of that variability. The fact that there is no variability in the skill-based matchmaking system is the problem. All the matches are sweaty. We don't dominate one game and then lose another. That's what the community is actually looking for. They don't care for skill-based matchmaking in terms of having the newer players protected, but we've lost that variability from match to match. Non-disbanding lobbies don't affect that in any way, shape, or form. It's just a part of it, and it's an outlet for what people haven't yet understood. You want variability. If you dominate one game and lose the next, you are more likely to continue playing. We have an inherent understanding that new things are hard. No one expects to go 100-0 on their first Call of Duty match. I actually reviewed my old Black Ops 1 stats from a very long time ago and just realized that I had a half KD. That is 2 deaths for every 1 kill. But guess what? In Black Ops 2, that doubled. I was like literally a pro. If you want to get some laughs in and review my old Golden Age Call of Duty stats, check out this video right here. It's fun, just revisiting the glory days. I'm sure all of you have had a nice increase in statistics over the years, just as I did. So it's interesting to go back and see how bad we were, or I was personally, and then how much better things get over time. Also, aim assist helps. The other thing that I was thinking about, and I don't know the stats on this, obviously for me, once I reviewed my old Call of Duty stats, I realized that this was about a year or so, but how long do players take to get out of that bottom 30%? Now kids have basically grown up with consoles and video games. I mean, my son has had a controller in his hand since he was 5 years old. He is a lot better of a player than Mr. Half KD from 2012 playing Black Ops 1 for the first time. And he's younger. He's just better at the game. He can slide, jump, move around. This is something that he's just inherently better at his younger age than I was when I first started playing. Kids are better at console games. So he's not going to be in the bottom 30% for the same amount of time that I was. For me, it took me a year of actually playing Black Ops 1 to go from a half KD to a 1 KD in Black Ops 2, and then another 3 or 4 years to elevate that to the next level. Watch the video to find out what that is with the newer games. But what if we're doing all of this protecting of the smaller bracket for a month of playing games? Never in this document does it talk about how long that bottom 30% is in the bottom 30%, but it does actually go over the entire middle is the bottom 30%, the top 10%, and then everything in between basically self-balances without the system. So if you're in the 40 to 90th percentile, that is already balanced by itself, and it goes into that in the document. So in reality, they're just trying to avoid this lower portion being with this top portion and kind of the stuff in the middle. So all of this stuff is getting hate from the top end players who are now in sweaty lobbies, lost that variability, don't get their butts kicked every now and again, but don't kick butt every game, just for a 30% of players, which they don't even discuss how long someone's in that. Those are just my thoughts on a little rant on skill-based matchmaking and some of the reasons why it's not going away. I do think that it's an inherently good system in protecting that lower class. I really do think that there can be some more variability into it. It's more of like a strict, this is how it works, when obviously life has a little bit of ebbs and flows. And if they can increase that variability from match to match, I really do think that it can work better, especially if it's just kind of catering to that lower class. But I'm curious to know what you guys think about this. Is there something that I missed? Is there something that may be working or needs to be tweaked in the skill-based matchmaking system? Comment below and let me know your thoughts. Is it something that should be completely gone? Is it something that needs a little bit of tweaks? Is there something that I just didn't think about, similar to that variability thing, that I just may not be aware of? Also, if you want to see if my little guy is better than Mr. Half KD Kev from Black Ops 1, check out this video right here.